guys, it's Michelle from Women Who Wow, the premier online coaching and mentoring platform for this seriously driven woman entrepreneur. And I am super excited to be with you guys today to answer a question that someone asked me just this morning. And I actually wrote down some notes as I was talking with her about what I might do differently if I had to start my business over from scratch today. What would I change? What would I stop doing? What would I never do? And I figured I'd come live and have this conversation with you guys and see what it is that you might do differently in your business. So I'm very excited that you're here. And for you guys who are watching the replay, I'm very excited that you're here. Please put your comments or questions or thoughts in the comments below. And I'm happy to look at those either now while we're live and or later when I come back and see what you guys have to say. But the truth is, I wouldn't change anything about how I built this business. And, you know, I've been making money on my own terms for 20 years now. I've been working from home, working virtually for 20 years now, well before working virtually was even a thing, right? Like I didn't, you know, back when I started, you heard rumors of people working from home, but you didn't actually know someone who had a really legit business working from home. So on one point, I wouldn't change anything. But another view of it is a lot of those early years and a lot of those middle years, frankly, were kind of chaotic and hectic and stressful in ways that I later learned they didn't have to be. But those days did make me, decisive, deliberate, focused, determined, tough, right? I have a tenacity that won't quit. I tell people all the time that part of the recipe for my success is that I literally just didn't go anywhere, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people have come on the scene and made a big boom, and then before you know it, they're gone, and they're coming back and doing something else. And so I am, I wouldn't change anything. And yet, if I had to start over right now, with just what I know, not like my list or my media that I've gotten or any of that, if I had to start over there right now, I would do some things differently simply because it would make my journey in business a lot more full of ease, right? It would make it a lot less stressful, and I'd make money, a lot more of it, a lot sooner with just a lot more ease. And so I want to tell you what I told her this morning, this person who's interviewing me, and I wanted to share it with you. So if I had to start over with only what I've learned and none of the list or anything else I've built, the first thing I would do differently is I would get on the OPP train earlier and more consistently. I would get what OPP in the Women Who Wow world is other people's people. I would get on other people's stages and pages earlier and more consistently. I think for a little while I definitely did that. It was always a strategy of mine, but I kind of played small with it and I was inconsistent with it. And so if I had to start over today, I would do the OPP thing, the other people's stages and pages. I would speak at their events. I would travel. Back in the day, I didn't travel. I turned down speaking events, I would, bow out of writing assignments or articles that had a deadline or whatever. And so I would definitely do that earlier and more consistently. The second thing that I would do differently if I had to start over today is I would definitely pay attention to the daily journaling and the mindset stuff. I had an amazing childhood, healthy, like no trauma, none of that. And yet I still had some like mindset junk that I had to work through, right? Regarding not worthiness, but regarding money, regarding wealth, regarding hard work, right? Like, so, and trusting a lot of money. So I would definitely have done the mindset stuff and the daily journaling a lot sooner. The third thing I would have done differently is I would have spent exactly 0 time cleaning up my message. I would have spent 0 time on that. Every time in the history of my business that I have tried to fancy stuff up and clean stuff up and make it more professional and all of that, my income dips. And I used to do that a lot more. I felt like I had to clean stuff up, look a little bit more fancy, do that kind of thing before I would be accepted on major stages. And when I finally got on major stages, I learned that the reason they wanted me there was because I was wearing jeans and cowgirl boots. I learned that they wanted me there because I was different. They wanted me there for my twisted little view of business, right? And so if I could do it over, I would have spent zero time cleaning up my own message and brand. I just would have lived it full out. Side note, this is something I still sometimes, like a trick or a trap that I fall into even to this day, thinking I've got to pretty this up or make sure this looks, smoother or glossier or whatever. It's always a trap for me. It always dramatically takes me off course. Organization is not what people pay me for, right? And so they want to adopt my mindset, like my mental toughness. They want to adopt my positioning and my packaging and my pricing confidence. They want to adopt simple strategies to reach their business goals. So there's that's what they're hiring me for. They are not joining Women Who Wow because I'm the most organized, right? If so, they're gonna bow out pretty quickly. All right, so one, I get on other people's pages and stages, the OPP train. Earlier and more consistently. I would do the mindset stuff a lot earlier. I didn't get into mindset stuff until probably 4 to 5 years ago, not seriously. Now I had a mental toughness about me, but I never worked on stretching what my normal was or stretching what I expected. I didn't do any of that. I would have done that sooner. The third thing, zero time spent on cleaning up my message or whatever. The fourth thing I would have done differently is I would have stayed fit and lean. This is something that I felt like I was giving up in order to create success and be a good mother and all of that. And I would have stayed fit and lean if I could do it over again. The fifth thing I would have done is I would have started daily messaging and daily selling a lot earlier. A lot of times I make more money than people because I sell more, right? I sell every day. I'm not ashamed about it. I'm in business and not ministry. And so this is something that has been an absolute key to me taking a pretty impressive new ground in the past several years. Daily messaging, daily selling. The sixth and final thing that I feel like I would do differently if I was starting over from scratch is I would have admitted more to myself about who I am and what I am. I think I played coy. This kind of ties into what I said. I'd spend no time cleaning up my message and brand and all of that. I sort of played coy with who I was. I played nice for too long. And this is not about treating people kindly. This is really about not owning sort of the warrior that's within me, right? Like not owning what my personality is. And, I would have admitted more of that earlier on. Matter of fact, I just was messaging in this one group, this one pretty huge like Facebook group. Somebody said, hey, I want to, basically network with women who are like badasses, who are, really wanting to create, very successful, profitable businesses, something like that. And I said something in there that I would have never said 6 years ago, not publicly. And I said, yeah, like Women Who Wow is created for those women who really didn't fit elsewhere. And we are for the, what did I say? We're for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur, not the hobbyist. And I also said, we're not about the husband-funded dawdlers or something like that. And that's a term that is polarizing. And I would have never, ever said it even 6 years ago. And yet if I had shared some of my frustration when I would go to a women's event and these women were not serious about making money, right? Because their ends were met. Right? Like their husbands didn't care if they made money. They just were doing this business, I assume, to tell their husband what they did that day. I don't know. But, I never said that publicly. If I had, I'd be even in a different place than I am right now. And one thing that you need to keep in mind, that we all need to keep in mind, is the more we're willing to say what we think and say it out loud, the more we will magnetize the right people to us, right? The more we'll magnetize the right people to us. But we've got to be willing to say these things out loud and risk pissing people off. In fact, I said the thing about the husband-funded dawdler, and somebody said, oh my God, I love that term, and I love you for it. And I said, well, it's one of those things. You either love me or hate me for it, right? And so if you're one of us, you love me, and if you're not, you hate me for it. But the truth is, in order to take impressive new ground in your business, you've got to be willing to do two things simultaneously. And these two things only happen simultaneously. You know, they're like two sides of the same coin. So the first thing you got to do is you've got to roll out the red carpet for your people, right? For the people who will appreciate your twisted little view on business or health or law or whatever it is that you do, right? And so, but when you roll out the red carpet for them, the reason we don't ever really do that for our people is because the flip side of that red carpet for one market is you are polarizing to another group or to all other groups, right? Like you are absolutely offensive to those other people without meaning to be. And so if I could do it over again, I would have said the things I had been thinking or talking to very, very, a handful of other women about. I would have said it out loud. And so anyway, so those are the 6 things that I would have done if I had to start over right now with just what I've learned and not my list and not my media reels and not any of that. And so I hope that you guys can comment and tell me what you might do differently if you were starting over. I just really love to get to know you and your business. If you are not a member of Women Who Wow, let's go ahead and remedy that. Message me. Let's talk about your business and where you are right now and where you're heading. Women Who Wow is really the place where seriously driven women go to create success on their own terms. And Women Who Wow is definitely the place that your excuses go to die. So anyway, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.